Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with the finale of our F1 2006 Championship Edition career mode. Yes, we're back today, ready for the Brazilian GP. 54 races done in this series, some of which we haven't crashed out of. It has been an absolutely brutal game, but one that I have had a lot of fun with as well. And as I've mentioned so many times in recent weeks, later on in the year, after some of the hype for F1 24 has died down, we will return to this game over on the second channel with the hard difficulty settings. So it's kind of more of a goodbye for now, not forever, with this game. And it has been fun as well to have an excuse to crack out the old PlayStation 3. But yes, we head towards Brazil though this weekend. It's a little bit of an anticlimactic one, to be honest. Giancarlo Fisichella is already Formula 1 World Champion. We are already locked into P5 as well in the drivers' table there. You can see Renault, Alonso, Schumacher, Massa are all still battling it out in the drivers' championship. I believe it is all still actually to play for in the constructors between Ferrari and Renault. Renault with a 16-point lead with 18 available, so it is still mathematically possible for Ferrari to overhaul the advantage, but it is going to take a huge effort and quite a lot of luck as well here. 1 point between McLaren and Honda as we head into this final weekend. Again, in the Constructors' Championship, we can't do anything. We are locked into P5 there as well. So for us this weekend, we can just go out and enjoy it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. We're not going to bother with qualifying. We're going to start this one from the back of the field and hopefully have some fun with it. But yeah, I just want to say as well, a massive thank you to everyone for the support throughout this entire series. It's had its ups, it's had its downs, it's had some really stupid moments by me. It's had some really stupid moments by the game. I can't help but feel slightly salty that we should have had a bigger chance in this final season with a few of the glitches that occurred halfway through the campaign. But ultimately, we're playing an F1 game that's near enough 20 years old, and what a game it is. So let's try and go out and win one final race. Oh my... no! Oh, dearie me. Literally, I was going to just go out and do some sight laps in free practice, make sure I was aware of what we were doing. That is not the ideal way to start. We have blocked Michael Schumacher, though, as we come out a second time, as once again, Toyota have become very, very good at putting new wheels on this car. As I mentioned, I was planning on just trying to make sure that we get some banker laps in, just so we know exactly what we're doing as we move into the Grand Prix. Many of you may remember last season's finale here from Sao Paulo. We were going to win our last ever race for Red Bull until I hit the wall on the outside of turn 1 and picked myself up a puncture with 2 laps to go with the race. So really hoping that doesn't happen today. Not that we can lose anything if it does. Oh, great. Oh, I could hear Jarno coming in behind me there down at turn 1. That time around, luckily, we've only had a puncture, but this all does not bode well ready for the GP.
Don't go anywhere. We're only minutes away from the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix, coming to you live from Interlagos. They are serious about their motorsport here in São Paulo. They adore their heroes like Fittipaldi, Senna, Massa and Barrichello. It's another classic circuit, Interlagos, anti-clockwise, very quick, and there are several genuine overtaking opportunities. Thankfully it's dry here, but the temperature has dipped somewhat. On pole is Felipe Massa. Next on the front row is Giancarlo Fisichella. Third is Juan Pablo Montoya. Michael Schumacher is next. Fifth is Fernando Alonso. Sixth is Rubens Barrichello. Jarno Trulli lined up in 7th. 8th is Kimi Raikkonen.
Well, I must admit, yes, starting at the back of the field is rather unfamiliar territory for us this season. We have taken so many poles, I think more than half the pole positions this campaign. It's a shame we've very, very rarely been able to bring it home come the end of a Grand Prix Sunday. But yeah, obviously this track, I absolutely love it, but I'm sure there are 2 drivers on this grid that love it a whole lot more. Rubens Barrichello, what a fairy tale it would be for him and BAR if he could take the win today. And of course, obviously Felipe Massa, lucky enough to win this race a couple of times in real life. And I'm sure he wouldn't say no to winning the final race of this series as well. Of course, Ferrari, like we said, they need a big result here.
This sector with the tyre temperatures nice and high. I noticed on the computer you've let them drop a little, and that can easily affect your getaway from the lights.
I tell you what, I'm not going to miss this engineer either. He has certainly been annoying, and you can't even tell him to shut up, which would have been handy on a lot of separate occasions. But one final time then, on F1 Championship Edition, I really do hope this series, if anything else, has just painted a picture of how difficult this game is as we try and get those last little bit of temperature into the tyres. Let's see what we can do here today.
All systems are nominal, everything's looking good. Good luck and enjoy the race.
Luck is something we have needed a whole lot more of on this game right since the get-go.
Seconds to go before we're racing. You can really feel the tension. We are racing!
Well, I've accidentally nailed the start and there's nowhere to go.
The grid. It's not a great start for Alonso though. Here they come into the first turn. Massa leads out of the first turn, and behind him is Fisichella. Next is Montoya.
Well, I heard plenty of carnage there through the first corner, but it looks like everyone has got away with it. Unfortunately, yeah, I think that's the best I've ever reacted to the lights on this game, and we couldn't really do anything with it at the start, as I just don't really want to risk anything early on in this GP. Don't want to lose a wheel on lap 1, but we are slowly moving our way up the order ever so slightly as Takuma Sato, next car just in front of me. I believe, no, he would still race it to 2007, wouldn't he? IRL.
Showing green tyres, they've heated up nicely now. Grip should be good.
Oh, trying to find a window around the outside of a couple of people as my old arch nemesis Jacques Villeneuve gets in the way. We'll be slicing and dicing our way through though early on. That was close. The Antonio Luizzi clearly didn't spot me down the inside. I'm at a P15 then already on this opening lap, so that's actually been a really, really good start on this game. And really something that I certainly learned early on, but should have remembered a lot more on this game is it really does pay to just be patient, cool, calm and collected. You know, I can probably think of about 50 points this year that we've gone and lost out on, as Christian Klein must have picked up front wing damage somewhere. So I'm guessing that was the damage we heard at the start. But yeah, we are up 8 places then by the end of the opening lap.
The field looks like this. Massa is first. Fisichella is second. Third is Juan Pablo Montoya. Fourth, Michael Schumacher. Barrichello fifth. He's moved up from 6th. Alonso 6th. He's down from 5th. In 7th is Raikkonen, and Trulli is 8th.
That's the fastest you've been through Sector 1 in this session.
Hasn't scored many points this season as we try and look around the outside of DC through Ferradura. Oh, damn it. Of course. Oh, no. I knew as soon as we went near that curb. Well, we're going to lose a couple of spots then in a few seconds, but we're not out of the race. That's the most important thing. How slow are the AI through there? I always forget. Well, clearly our engineer has very, very mixed emotions about how we're getting on at the moment. But yeah, I certainly don't feel that spin, hopefully, isn't going to cost me too much by the end of the afternoon. I must admit, it is very, very special to see that final ever V10 F1 car, and I do love the fact that inside this game, you know, the attention to detail with the way most of the cars do seem different, obviously depending on their engine provider. I don't like the attention to his brake pedal that the Antonio Luizzi was giving me there, heading in towards Ferradura, but we have got back round him again. And in many ways, I hope we don't see that Toro Rosso again before the end of this campaign. Are we going to be able to complete the move on DC this time round? Not with lines like that, or maybe with lines like that. He's very, very slow. He actually runs out wide into me. But we make it through. That was scary. While closing in. Wow, Nick Heidfeld, that was a big dive bomb on Mark Webber as they make their way through this middle sector. Come on, Mark, you got to get on with it. That Williams still yet to score a point this season. So we'll switch him and Heidfeld through the next corner. Of course, Nick Heidfeld not only scored points, but took the win back at the British Grand Prix. I would still love to know just how on earth he managed that, but I think loads of us ran into issues. Oh, we got oil down as well. I think that is, as soon as I mention him, Nick Heidfeld, I think he's out of the Grand Prix. Oh, come on, got to try and make light work of Nico Rosberg. always scary going through there, and now we've got to be careful of the oil spill left by the BMW. See, 2006 was a weird little year for BMW Sauber, but they did end up doing quite well, all things considered. I love the way there. We had to brake early because I could spot the oil on the outside. Rosberg broke on it and later than me, and doesn't spin out in a fireball collision that would have no doubt ruined my race. Here comes the Williams, though, back up towards someone. I believe they were Toyota-powered this season.
Massa is first. Fisichella is second. Third is Juan Pablo Montoya.
Well, Jenson Button then, of course, famously a winner here at Interlagos. I believe it was last season, wasn't it? Not having the time of it so far.
Tyres are showing signs of wear, and this will affect grip.
As how many times this season have I said about Jarno Trulli being close, but never seemingly able to score points? Around the outside will go. And he is back into his all-favourite 9th position, as immediately he tries to dive bomb me into the very next corner. I'm not going to miss that. Oh, come on, Kimi Räikkönen, thank you. We'll switch him off the exit there. That seems to be just the corner, where we're making up about a second a lap, it feels like. We do lose a fair chunk of that, though, making our way back up towards the start-finish line. But I am monitoring the gap to Massa. I do feel slightly conflicted trying to beat the Brazilian.
So it looks like we should have fine conditions until the end of the race.
I didn't know it was meant to rain, so that is good news for us at the very least. We're definitely going quicker than Felipe right now. So we could be on for quite a battle towards the end of this, as Montoya and the Michael both peel into the pit lane. So I'm sure there is beef between them. Come on then, Alonso. Let's see how much we can claw on him through the exit of the corner. Not only can we get to him, we can also get past him. As I mean, yeah, double Brazilian podium here. I'm sure would be ones the fans would absolutely love to see. Don't think, though, it's going to happen. But yeah, will Barrichello peel into the pit lane at the end of this lap, or am I going to have to try and make the move happen on the road? It has been nice on this final season to finally have a car that is more competitive down the straights, but it still does not compare to the Honda and the Ferrari and a few of the other cars like that, as everyone else, though, pretty much into the pit lane. It is your new world champion, Giancarlo Fisichella, now that leads the way.
Fisichella leads. He's up from second. You're second. Räikkönen is third.
Giancarlo Fisichella then into the pit lane, so we are going to take the lead of this race after just 10 laps here. We're floating about 8 seconds behind Giancarlo, so we're looking to try and get a bit of an undercut on him. As we are still setting PBs, not with lines like that though. Let's try and just hang on to this until our pit box. That right there is how much the engineer annoys me on this game. I get if you're just playing it, he's quite fun to have there. But when I'm trying to talk over the race as well, I have literally had, genuinely I reckon, more than 100 encounters on this game throughout this series where he's interrupted me. Anyway, less moaning about the engineer. Let's appreciate just for a split second that Toyota currently have got a double podium going on. So we got to hope that Jarno has no intention of pitting, ever. Oh, we got more oil down somewhere in the middle sector. I'm planning on peeling into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I can't see it. I'm very nervous. We'll just try and stay off the racing line. Of course, there it is. What? How is it always in the worst possible location? Luckily, that time round, we only understeer a little bit. But yeah, into the pits we're going to come, though, at the end of lap 12. So we haven't actually got that long left to go. It is a very, very short Grand Prix here from Sao Paulo. As we try and make our way then into the pit lane. Do not want to risk it, because in this game it is a very, very tight pit lane as well. I miss the pit lane here from Brazil, the old-style lane. It was so cool and so unique. And I get that it was kind of viewed dangerous in the lower series, but it was perfect in Formula 1. Final, hopefully, pit stop, though, on this game. See if we can actually nail one. Come on. 8.8. We went sub 9. I guess we can't be too disappointed with that. But still, I long for the day where I get a better pit stop there. There's a few other teams down the end of the lane ready for their own pit stops. Right, easy on pit lane exit. Don't crash now as we try and make our way around that tyre wall. Wonderful. Where are we going to re-emerge though? I think we're out in P3. So we've overcut even absolutely everybody here. And well, I guess Montoya, Barrichello, Michael Schumacher. We don't have to deal with any of them. We've just got to try and hunt down our top 2.
Here's the current top 8. Massa is first. Fisichella is second. You're third. Montoya 4th. Barrichello 5th. Michael Schumacher 6th. He's down from 5th. Alonso 7th. And Raikkonen is 8th.
I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I cannot believe that. I mean, was the final race ever going to end any differently? I knew as soon as we got on the grass I had to be careful getting the car back on the track. But I just simply was not careful enough. I mean, on the one hand, I'm happy that it doesn't change any of the results for us. On the other hand, I'm gutted that even in the final race of this series, I can't even finish it on a high. We go and stack the car with just a handful of laps to go. Good riddance to F1 CE. Honestly, that's my thoughts and feelings about this game at the moment. And, well, it's races like this that make me reluctant to come back to it towards the end of the year.
Massa is first. Fisichella is second. Third is Juan Pablo Montoya. Barrichello 4th.
It's been a fascinating season with all manner of twists and turns to the story. It's been a wonderful journey for me and a real privilege to cover this season for you. With all the new rules and regulations, it's been challenging at times, but I think you'll agree what we're seeing here is a firm indication that the good times are back for Formula One. So all that's left for me to say is thank you for sticking with us and goodbye from all of us here at Sao Paulo, Brazil. We'll be back next year in the spring for another season of Formula One racing. Goodbye, and as always, take care.
Well, there we go then. Both Brazilians do make it to the podium in the final race of this series. Felipe Massa does enough, but Michael Schumacher, meant that no matter what Renault did this afternoon, that they would not be able to do enough there. But yeah, both Brazilians and our world champion on the podium for the final race of the season. That's quite the feel-good story. It must be said as well there. With David Coulthard, the man I replaced at Red Bull last year, myself and both Saubers failing to see the checkered flag one final time. That means at the end of the season, Massa actually jumps both Schumacher and Alonso at the end of the title there. Montoya was just 6 points back behind myself, ahead of Barrichello and Button there, with Raikkonen beating out Heidfeld for the top 10 there. Rosberg just beat out Trulli in the end by a single point, with Klein, Speed, Albers, Coulthard and Jacques Villeneuve there all scoring, just leaving Webber, Luizzi, Ide, Sato and Montero unable to get a point over the course of the campaign there. Renault, that gap was cut down to just 11 points in the season finale, and you can see Honda actually jumped McLaren as well to P3 in the end, so a load of prize money for them, beating out ourselves. And then, yeah, you can see obviously it would have been BMW, Williams, Red Bull, Toro Rosso, Midland even, and Super Aguri. Well, I'm going to see what happens then at the end of the season, just out of interest, because of course we haven't got a contract for next season. Apparently we get to spend a nice evening at the Calypso Hotel in Jamaica. It is those little things as well that I must admit I do still love from this game. But are we going to get any kind of contract offers? We've got 2 that have come through. Super Aguri and Williams, dearie me. That is so funny. So funny. At the end of this championship. Can we do anything else? You can see we got 9 wins, 17 poles. I've got a pole to win rate that I think Charles Leclerc would find quite amusing there as well. No championships, 4 teams driven, and 39 points average per season with a score of 37%. I don't really know what that means as well there, but yeah, I mean, we've got some other offers coming through. Renault interested, Honda also interested, and apparently Panasonic for some reason, despite the fact they just sacked me. So that's a little bit weird as well at the end of the day. Taking a look at our email inbox though, Renault have offered us a trial, yeah, we knew about that. Williams said I didn't finish enough races, which is not particularly good either. And of course, yeah, Panasonic Toyota even not too happy with me either. But yeah, is there anything else we can just have a quick look at before we end up having a look at the player statistics. We are currently unemployed. We had a barely over 50% finish rate in this series as well, but yeah, I mean, we pretty much averaged 1 in 3 pole positions, and yeah, 1 in 6 races we did end up winning as well, which is quite staggering. So we took 90 points by virtue of race wins on this game, and only 117 points overall. So when we won quite well, and then otherwise we basically didn't score points ever, apparently, inside this game. But I mean, could it have really ended any other way? I honestly don't think so, which is rather gutting, to be completely honest with you guys as well. But thank you all so much as always for sticking with this series. As I've always kind of said, you know, this game is brutal, it is horrible, and I always want to try and portray that as well to you guys to hopefully appreciate just how much more difficult some of these older F1 games really were. As mentioned, you know, I will come back to this game. I am not going to give up with it until I am a Formula 1 World Champion. But yeah, for now, that is it with F1 Championship.